Hi, this is the first assembly video for the Ergodox mechanical keyboard. In this video, I'm going to solder the diodes to the PCBs. The diodes will be soldered to the bottoms of the PCBs, but since I don't have anything else soldered to them yet, I just need to make sure I solder the diodes to a bottom side and to a top side. And I can worry about which side is right, which side is left later. I'm going to use solder paste. This is MG Chemicals 4860P-35G solder paste. If you decide to use solder paste, be sure to read the instructions and warnings that come with it. Notice here that it says it needs to be stored refrigerated. Since I'm using surface mount diodes, they'll be soldered to these smaller paths that are closer together. Here and here. The two closer paths there and there. Notice these outer pads have holes, so those are for the through-hole diodes. It may not be possible for you to see this, but the cathode of the diode is indicated with a line. I can't get that to focus, but in person it would be easier to see. The side with the line needs to be soldered to the square pad. So notice that you have the round pad on this side and the square pad on this side. So the line needs to be on the square side. So I'm just going to place the diodes and then I'm going to heat them with a heat gun. I've placed the PCB on this MDF board so I don't melt my plastic desk. So this part should be a bit time consuming. I also wanted to mention that it's easy to recognize where the diodes need to go by looking at these square indicators here. Notice all of the places with the squares are where the diodes go. The diodes also have a flat side too. I understand that some people who watch this series will be very experienced. What I try to do when I record these videos is I try to make sure that I cater to everyone, and of course that's impossible, but with one series of videos. But I believe by trying to show every step of the way, every little thing that needs to be done, that if somebody's watching this and they've never done anything like this before, this video should show them how to do everything that they need to do in order to complete the project. And of course the downside to that is that, if you're very experienced, a lot of this may seem rather tedious to you. Maybe you don't need to see me practice my technique over and over again. If that's the case, then you can always just skip forward to the next part of the series. If you haven't done surface mount components with solder paste before, it might be a good idea for you to practice on a little hobby PCB first, just so you can get the hang of the technique. And then you can also test your results too after you do it. This is pretty easy, really. And this is probably the easiest way to solder surface mount. You want to be careful not to use too much paste because, it's not likely, but it is possible that you could create a short between the conductors. I wonder if there's people who do this for a living. Just do this all day, every day. I'd probably get fired. For the most part, most of the square pads are actually on the right side of the left-hand keyboard. Did I already say this is probably the most tedious part of this process? This is kind of fun, actually. I don't get to do very much tedious work, usually. Can't wait to try out this keyboard, too. These keys on the sides here, I think you can use LEDs instead of diodes here, but the instructions that I'm using didn't specify. But it's labeled right on the PCB here, LED, LED, LED. That's okay, I don't really want to do any LEDs right now anyway. So I'm not sure what, I mean, I might want to do something special with some LEDs later, like maybe some different colors. I just want to get the keyboard together first and then decide what I'm going to do with LEDs. When I put the paste on, I'm looking to make sure that the square pad is on the right, the round pad's on the left. So far now, the only ones that were different were this one here and this one here. They're just angled differently. Sorry, I keep hitting the camera. Try not to. Can't see the line on some of these. Maybe I should have got some higher quality diodes. I think it would be worth it if you haven't bought your components yet. Find out if some of these diodes, maybe some of them are printed a little better. These are really hard to read. Yeah, I can't see that one at all. I don't think anything's printed on that one. The camera is very close to my workspace, so that's why it's hard not to tap it sometimes. In the future, I would like to get a new camera that has zoom, maybe on a remote. They're kind of expensive. You know, good cameras for this kind of work start at start at about $1,000. Maybe one day. It's hard to justify. Wow, these diodes are really bad. There's at least 10 of them now. I can't tell which side is which. I'm gonna have to actually test them and work with myself if I don't have enough. Okay, looks like there's just 6 more. So I'm gonna move this over a little bit. Wow, already 20 minutes. I might have to do a separate video for the other board. Just going to separate the diodes. I highly recommend not skimping on the diodes. I bought the diodes as part of a set of, for the electronics. Came with the diodes and the resistors and everything, instead of buying them individually. Kind of regretting that at the moment. I could go get my magnifying glass too. It might help. I'll just take a look. Probably nobody is watching at this point anyway. Okay, again, so just inside the squared areas, they're actually labeled switch, SW. Squares on the top here. On the top. On the right. Right. And the right. Okay, so the square pads appear to all be either on the top or on the right. When working with the left hand keyboard. It would be the opposite for the other side. Okay, now that they're all in place, I'm going to go ahead and get the heat gun, and I'm going to move the camera a little bit. This is just a regular Wagner heat gun. I know it's not really designed for solder paste, but I did test it out before today, and it seemed to work just fine. So the solder paste actually turns from a gray color to a shiny, hot solder metallic. Oh, some of those got moved around, probably from the air from the heat gun. going to grab the camera by hand to try to get a closer shot for you to see this. Notice how the gray turns to silver. Oops. Okay, I can't hold the camera and do it at the same time. So anyway, I'm gonna have to fix that one, but I think you get the idea. If you haven't seen it before. The trick here with the Wagner is to not hold it so close. Okay, now I'm just going to go through and make sure that they're all connected. Okay, that looks good. All right, since I'm at 29 minutes now, I'm going to go ahead and stop the video. And I will actually go ahead though, even though the other PCB is going to be exactly the same process, except it's going to be on the left-hand side instead of the right-hand side. I'm still going to record it anyway. You can always just skip the video, but I will, or you will see my hands in the next video. Thanks for watching.